Hello everyone, Eleana's everything. So my name is Eleana, and if you can see, I'm going to give some information about brain aneurysm. But before that, I'm going to introduce Luke. That's Luke.
Hello, Eleana's boyfriend and expert artist, as you will see in a second. And we're just going to give you a visual explanation of brain aneurysms, how that looks.
Yes. So before that, that's why am I going to give you information about brain aneurysm? For me, well, April 17, 2015, which is today now is April 17, 2022, I had my ruptured brain aneurysm 7 years ago. So that's why we're going to give you some information about brain aneurysm. So yeah, we'll see the brain soon.
Okay.
This is the brain aneurysm.
Okay, so right here, this is what your brain looks like normally. The red lines are an example of the blood vessels. There's a lot, and there's a lot smaller ones too that you can't draw at this size. But a brain aneurysm is just going to be like this area right here. I'll make it a little bigger so it's easier to see on camera, but this little tiny blood vessel has a bulge in it basically, and we'll show you why that happens in a second. But alright, so here on a close-up of the brain, you can see this expanding blood vessel right here. That's what an aneurysm is going to look like before it ruptures, and we'll get into a close-up of that later. But they're typically asymptomatic until they rupture. Larger aneurysms, like ones that are big enough to see in a scale drawing like this, can impact the actual tissues of the brain. Obviously, like Eleana mentioned, 7 years ago tomorrow, or today, whenever you see this, they can rupture, and then you'll definitely have symptoms impacting your brain. And the rupture can also cause a 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼𝙎, which is bleeding in the space between, this is your skull, between the brain and the skull. This is known as the subarachnoid space. That is very dangerous, and you need hospital level care immediately if something like that happens. So this is a close-up of a healthy blood vessel inside of the brain, like say a young, fit, active person. You can see here the walls of the blood vessel are all uniform width, uniform thickness. There's no damage or anything. This is what a young, healthy person's blood vessels will typically look like. So the reason the aneurysms form isn't 100% understood yet, but one of the most commonly accepted theories for how it could happen is damage to a blood vessel wall, let's say right in the middle here, due to something like high blood pressure forcing a lot of red blood cells into a smaller area, or some other. There's also genetic factors that can cause it, but the wall will be weakened right here at this point by the body's natural inflammatory response, which makes it even weaker because it's very thin now. This will cause blood to accumulate inside of this thinner area, like so. Think of it like a balloon, and this area is now very thin in the wall. These are red blood cells. So yeah, this is what it's going to look like. This is an example. This part right here is the actual aneurysm. Alright, there's a number of factors that will determine when and if an aneurysm such as this actually ruptures. That will include things like your diet. Do you have a lot of cholesterol buildup on your blood vessel walls? Have they stiffened with atherosclerosis? Do you have a family history of high blood pressure or aneurysm rupture? Do you smoke? Do you drink a lot of alcohol? And do you have hypertension? So just high blood pressure, basically.
Okay, so that's why if you can see in my channel, Lucas give more information. But for me, even if my language is not as great, but I'm letting you know because this is the 7 years anniversary for me for the eruption of my brain aneurysm. So my lifestyle in that time, which is I'm letting you know people should not, is like sleep, even if I have a good food or like, you know, but I'm a very athletic because I love sports, example like soccer, volleyball, swimming. And another one for me is I don't smoke, but occasionally I drink alcohol. But if I drink alcohol, if I party, I drink a lot. Have more awareness of your health. So yeah, this is what I'm giving you some information about brain aneurysm. So
okay, so the procedure for dealing with an aneurysm or ruptured aneurysm, there's a couple different ways. This is the method that Eleana had done to her when they fixed her aneurysm. It's called clipping. So a piece of the skull is actually removed, and a pair of a surgical clip, sorry, not a pair. A surgical clip is used to basically keep blood from flowing into the aneurysm any further.
So for me, what happened is, well, I did not know what happened because of course if in my emergency and then my neurologist and my family need to clip because they ruptured in my brain, in my head or my skull. So what happened is it's like this, but that happened for my aneurysm, they ruptured. So of course it's like poof, was it like, you know, like a volcano? So that's why they need to clip it, so at least the blood will be, well, he talked about it, and you can see it's in my here in my left of my head. But yeah, I'm just letting you know that be take care of yourself because you're the one who's going to help yourself. So yeah, okay, look.
Cases where the aneurysm has not yet ruptured, a less invasive procedure that does not involve removing pieces of the skull is to feed a catheter up through the urethra into the blood vessels and all the way up into the brain, and then release these little platinum coils into the aneurysm to prevent blood from flowing into it, weakening it, and potentially causing it to rupture in the future. This is the preferred method if you can catch an aneurysm forming early enough. That way you don't have to do cuts into the skull and all those more dangerous, more invasive procedures. Example of what Eleana's brain looks like now, this tiny little clip on the rupture. We hope this was informative for everyone. If there's questions that we did not answer that you have, or something you'd like us to explain further, please let us know in the comments, and we will be happy to explain further.
So because of Luke, and thank you Luke for this, my teacher, it feels like my for this one, because at this moment it's just a bit hard for me to actually, you know, sometimes I know if you can watch it my channel, it's more about entertainment and more traveling, food, because sometimes if I do something like this it's more script because sometimes I forgot. So that's why I want to let people the awareness of brain aneurysm. It's not only about brain aneurysm but health. Health is a big in our life, because please don't be like me because of what happened. Brain aneurysm for me and for those people who doesn't know brain aneurysm. So be careful of your life. So yeah, thank you. This is like a short information about brain aneurysm. Eleana's everything with Luke.
With Lukey.
So yeah, see you next time. God bless. Take care and be safe.
Bye.
See you next time. Bye. Thank you.